Good morning, dear students, in your English class. Today we will learn chapter 3.1 The Plate of Gold. Today we have a narrative poem lesson. It's a lovely moral based poem in which you will see everything about how to become truly rich in heart and by doing good deeds. So let's see it. Now, firstly, I wanted to watch this video. This is an activity called the Good Ninja in Malaysia. Malaysia is a country in South Asia. Now, in this video, you will see a boy dressed up like a ninja. Here you can see one boy. Okay, he's doing some work. You have to tell me what work the boy is doing in this video. Is he doing good work or is he doing bad work? And also you have to tell me what is he doing and whether he's doing it quietly or he's showing it openly. So children, you have seen in this video lots of good works. You have to tell me what that boy was doing, whether he was doing the right thing, and whatever he was doing, was he proclaiming it to all, telling I am doing this work, I am doing this good work. Was he doing it, or was he doing it quietly, and why was he doing it? Secondly, I want you to write about how will you help poor people. Think about this and write in Google Classroom. Okay, now let's go ahead. Now let's come to the poem. Let's learn of the poet first. The name of the poet is James Henry Leigh Hunt. Okay, so we'll learn about him and his works. Now, who is James Henry Leigh Hunt? He was born in 19th October 1784 and died on 28th August 1859. He was the best known as Leigh Hunt. He was an English critic, essayist, and poet. Now, in 1816, he made a mark in English literature. He was very good in English literature with the publication of the story of Rimini, based on the tragic episode of Francesca da Rimini told in Dante's Inferno. Here you can see the picture, and this is a picture of James Henry Leigh Hunt. Okay, now he has written many poems. Among that, two poems pictures over here. One is A Night Rain in Summer, and second is Abu Ben Adem. These are two of his famous poems. You can go and find out about them. Now let's go ahead. Now this is a narrative poem. Now what is the meaning of narrative poem? Let's find out. Narrative poem tells stories through verse. Like a novel or a short story, a narrative poem has plot, characters, and setting. Using a range of poetic techniques such as rhyme and meter, narrative poetry represents a series of events, often including action and dialogue. In most cases, narrative poems have only one speaker, that is the narrator, who relates the entire story from the beginning to the end. For example, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Now this is one poem, The Raven, by Edgar Allan Poe. It is narrated by a grieving man, who is a sad man, who over the course of 18 stanzas, 18 verses, okay, describes his mysterious confrontation with a raven. Raven is a bird. Okay, his confrontation with the raven and his descent into despair. How he became sad. So there is a full story given called as The Raven. So similarly, this poem what we are learning today is also a narrative poem. It's like a story form. How did the narrative poem start? From where did you come to know about it? Let's find out. The earliest poem was not written but spoken, recited, chanted, or sung. Poetic devices like rhythm, rhyme, and repetition made stories easier to memorize. Okay, when they wrote in the form of rhythm, rhyme, people were able to remember so that they could be transported to over long distances and handed down through generations. Narrative poems evolved from this oral tradition. People were talking, they were telling the stories in the form of poem. Then that person was telling another person, and another person, and another person. This way, through generations, the poems got passed on. Now let's go ahead. Now we'll listen and watch the explanation of this narrative poem. Okay, students, pay attention very attentively.
Hello students, I hope you all are doing fine. Today we are going to start with the poem 3.1, The Plate of Gold, by James Henry Leigh Hunt. Warming up will be given to you with the notes that are provided in the PDF in the group. So we'll start with the poem. One day there fell in great Banaras temple court a wondrous plate of gold, where on these words were writ, to whom who loveth best, a gift from heaven. Thereat the priest made proclamation. At the midday hour, each day, those assemble for virtue deem their rights to heaven's gift the best, and we will hear the deeds and mercy done, and so adjudge. Now here the story starts in the temple court of Banaras. There a wonderful plate of gold just fell from heaven, and there were the words written on the plate that the one who loves me the best is the one who is going to get this plate. That is, this is a gift from heaven who loves me the best. So the priest made a proclamation. Proclamation means they announced, they made a public statement that at midday, that is in the afternoon, people will assemble and they'll talk about their virtue. Virtue means their good things that they have done. And then they will judge who is going to get this plate of gold. The news ran swift as light, and soon from every quarter came nobles, munshis, hermits, scholars, holy men, and all renowned for gracious or splendid deeds. Meanwhile, the priest in solemn council sat and heard what each had done to merit best the gift of heaven. So for a year the clements came and went. So when people came to know that there is a gift from heaven, there is a golden plate in this court, in this temple court, from everywhere people started coming and telling about their virtues, about their good deeds. And the priest, they were listening to whatever these people were telling them. And this went on for 1 whole year. The clements, that is the one who claimed that is the plate was theirs and it was their gift, they came to the court for a whole year. At last, after a patient weighing of the worth of all, the priest bestowed the plate of gold on one who seemed the largest lover of the race, whose whole estate within the year had been parted among the poor. Now here, after the priest saw who had come and they judged all the people, they gave this plate to a person who they thought who was the biggest lover of the race. Race here means the human race, the human kind. He had given all his wealth to the poor. This man, after trembling with his joy, advanced to take the golden plate, when lo, at his fingers first touched, it changed to basset lead. All stood aghast. But when the hapless Clement dropped it, clanging to the floor, heaven's golden was again transferred to shining gold. Now here, when the Clement touched the plate, it turned into lead, and everybody was surprised. But as soon as he dropped the plate to the ground, it again turned into gold. So far, another 12 months sat he priest and judge. Thrice they were awarded, thrice did heaven refuse the gift. Meanwhile, a host of poor, mean beggars in the street lay all about the temple gate, in the hope to move that love whereby each Clement hoped to win the gift, and well for them it was, if gold was be charity. For every pilgrim to the temple gate praised God that love might thus approve them it before the test, and so coin rained freely in the outstretched hands. But none of those who gave so much as turned to look into the poor, sad eyes of them that begged. Now 12 months had passed, that is a year had passed, and the priests were judging the people who were coming to claim the plate. 3 times they rewarded the plate, but 3 times the plate refused the Clement. That is, it turned into lead again. Meanwhile, there were many beggars who were sitting outside the temple, because they knew the people or the Clements who had come there, they are going to bestow or give them the coins in the hope that the plate will be given to them. And that happened. The people who had come to claim the plate, they gave the coins freely to the beggars. But the problem was that nobody looked into the sad eyes of these beggars and understood their problem. And now the second year had almost passed, but still the plate of gold by whomsoever touched was turned to lead. At length there came a simple peasant, not aware of that strange contest for the gift of God, to pay a vow within the temple. As he passed along the line of shriveled beggars, all his soul was moved within him to sweet pity, and the tears welled up and trembled his eyes. Now by the temple gate there lay a poor soul creature, blind and shunned by all. But when the peasant came and saw the sightless face and trembling, maimed hand, he could not pass, but kneeled and took both palms in his softly said, O thou, my brother, bear thy troubles bravely. God is good. Now here they are saying that even after the next year had started, there was no one who could claim the plate of gold. Anyone who touched it, it turned into lead. Finally, there came a peasant. He was not aware of this contest which was going on. He had just come there to pray. And when he saw all the beggars sitting outside, he was really touched. Then he saw a beggar who was blind and who was shunned, that is, he was standing or laying aloof from everyone there. He went there and he called him his brother. He did not give him more sympathy, but gave him some encouraging words like, be brave to bear all your troubles, because God is good. Then he rose and walked straightway across the court and entered where they wrangled of their deeds of love before the priest. A while he listened sadly and then turned away, but something moved the priest who held the plate of gold to beckon to the peasant. So he came, not understanding, and obeyed, and stretched his hand and looked and took the sacred vessel. Lo, it shone with thrice its former lustre, and amazed them all. Now, after he spoke to the beggar, he went inside the court where all the Clements were there, and trying to tell the priest how it is their plate of gold which the god had sent. After he heard many of them, the peasant turned and was going away from the temple. Then the priest saw him, and something moved inside the priest, and he called the peasant and he offered the plate of gold to him. The peasant did not know what it was and took it in his hand. As soon as he took it, the plate started shining thrice its shine, and everybody was amazed and surprised by what they saw. Son, cried the priest, rejoice, the gift of God is thine. Thou lovest best. And all made answer, it was well, and one by one departed. The priest said that, son, this is your gift. You have to be very happy, because you are the one who loves God the best. And everybody replied and said that it was all well, and they agreed, and one by one left the temple. But the peasant knelt and prayed, bowing his head above the golden plate, while over his soul, like morning, steamed the love of God. The peasant did not leave the temple with the golden plate. He was so moved that he kneeled and he prayed, and his soul was shining with the love of God. In this poem, we can understand that the people who do good deeds with their heart, are the ones who love God the most, and not to show the world that they are doing the good deeds. I hope you understood this poem and you have also learned a valuable lesson. Thank you and have a good day.
Now students, you have seen a wonderful and beautiful poem, a narrative poem about the plate of gold, and how good deeds, what you do in life, are important. You should do it with your heart, and you should do it with a clear mind, not in the expectation that you'll get something, but in the good heart of helping others. Let's go ahead. Similarly, I'm going to show you a story, a short Bible story. Okay, it's called A Poor Widow's Gift. Okay, after this clip, you have to tell me. You will see there's a poor lady who's a widow, and there's a church or a temple. Okay, and you'll see Jesus over there with his disciples. You have to tell me who is rich in heart and why.
A poor widow's gift. Mark chapter 12 verses 41 through 44 and Luke chapter 21 verses 1 through 4.
Jesus and the disciples went to the temple area. They watched people drop money into the offering box. The rich people put a lot of money into the box. Then Jesus saw a poor widow. She put 2 small coins into the box.
"This woman's gift is greater than all the others,"
Jesus whispered to his disciples.
"Even though the woman is poor, she gave all the money she had. The rich people gave a lot of money, but they still have plenty left over."
This is a short clip in which you have seen Jesus telling his disciples about the richness of the heart of that poor lady. She gave everything, whatever she had, while the rich people gave out of their little. They have an abundance. From their abundance of wealth, they gave little bit. But this lady gave everything, whatever she had. So who is rich in heart? Can you tell me? And why? Is it the rich people or the poor widow? Now let's go ahead. Now we come, children, to the difficult words with meanings. I want you to read it very carefully. I'll read it along with you. Repeat after me. Loved best means one who loves God most. Proclamation means a public statement. Deem means consider, regard. Adjudge, consider and declare. Quarter, here it means corner. There are 2 meanings of quarter. Here it means in the corner. Okay. The other one, there's a quarter of a piece or quarter of a pail of water, but here it means corner. Renowned, a well-known. Solemn, serious. Claimants, those who state the right to get something. Bestowed, presented as a gift. Parted, distributed. Aghast, shocked and horrified. Maimed, permanently damaged or crippled. Shriveled means dried up and wrinkled. Shunned, avoided and rejected. Wrangled, argued, angrily. Beckon means call, and luster means shine. I hope you have understood this very well. Thank you.